She's busy singing "Hello, I Love You" to Spencer.
She's a happy cat. You're a happy cat, yes you are. Testing, testing. Yeah, it looks like... What? Okay, fine.
Never mind. She says, I hate you now.
She does. Is it too bright, or do you think it's okay?
Do I look okay?
Yeah, you look fine. It looks bright. I can turn it a little bit if you think it's too much.
You'd think that we were doing this as an edit out.
Who cares?
Okay.
Ow.
Don't kill me.
I'm not going to kill anybody. Well, it's Friday. Here we are. Had yet another big week.
Yep.
All kinds of crazy stuff going on. I don't know. There's all kinds of things to talk about.
People that have Instagram saw Spencer's latest purchase.
It's true. I'll insert a picture of that. Maybe I'll insert that video clip.
I have a picture.
Do you?
I took one this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did
it work? There it is. It's a car.
It hasn't. I grew up, as some of you know because you've read my stuff, I grew up working on cars with my dad, and he was really into British cars and VWs. But one of my favorite car models that he had two of, were the MGB GT. I just think they're great cars. I love the design. The body was designed by Pininfarina in 1962. I just think they're super cool. And I always wanted one kind of in the back of my head. And every morning when I'm eating breakfast with Sebastian, we sit there and we look at Facebook Marketplace. He wants to look at cars. I want to look at cars. So I'm looking at Facebook Marketplace, always looking at cars, and always looking at all this stuff. And I haven't had a project car in forever. And this one came up down in Colorado Springs, and it belonged to the second owner. Second owner bought it in 1980. He bought the thing and immediately parked it in the woods by his house, and it never moved again.
Yes, it did.
It did. Oh no, he said he bought it 36 years ago, and the last time it ran was 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. So for 30 years, it just sat in the woods, up until the point that his wife set fire to his hair and told him that he had to sell it, and he was like, "Oh my God!" and he started working on it. But then he still had to sell it.
But you're not going to do that.
No, God.
And I'm not going to set fire to your hair because it's going to be so beautiful. I'll be able to go to the grocery store in it.
Yeah, I have to teach you how to drive a stick. No, it's only
I'll learn.
An act of hardcore will, and I'm not out in the garage right now.
Well, that's because we are making this video for all you fine people.
It's true. But it's a 1969 MGB GT, and it's got the... I don't know, it's got the 1.8 liter overhead valve engine. Maybe it's an MGB GT, but it's... I don't know, it's so exciting, but Sebastian loves the thing. He loves it.
He sneaked into the garage this morning to look at it.
Yeah, and I'm amazed he's not down here now agitating to look at it. But it should be good. It should be good. It has the only real... it's got many issues because it sat in a forest for 30 plus years. But I think the worst thing is that a lot of moist water got in through the back hatch and pooled underneath the spare tire. And that whole panel underneath the trunk it's pretty rotted on one side, but the rockers are good and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm surprised you weren't stunned that I said that I want to drive it to the grocery store.
It seems absolutely natural to me.
I hate going to the grocery store.
Why wouldn't? Well, you see, it was a trick statement. So she's not going to drive it because she never goes to the grocery store.
I'll drive it to Target.
I have to teach her how to drive a stick.
Yeah, I never learn because we're Americans and that doesn't happen here. Okay, this one.
Sebastian and I, by the way, we did our first thing together on the car this morning. Got a bicycle pump out, and we pumped up the mostly flat tires. And he insisted on helping with all four tires, and so we worked together on it. And then one of the tires, they're so old and rotten, one of the tires popped. And it went...
Anyway, now the questions. This one came from an email.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dear Spencer, I hope this message finds you guys well. To quote one online vendor, in general, Seiko screw-down crowns are not smooth as Swiss manufacturers. Boy, that's putting it mildly. I now own two Seiko Sumos, SBDC 031 and SBDC 033, and both of their screw down crowns feels as if there's sand in the threads. Do you have any recommendations for lubricants? I'm so frustrated about to resort to using WD-40 if I weren't afraid of corroding the gaskets. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you, Seiko Purist. P.S. Love your videos. Keep them coming. Don't use WD-40. Even I know that.
Don't use WD-40. What you need to do is get silicone grease. It's waterproofing grease, and put a little bit on the threads. The big thing with screw down crowns, like even this old watch, which is not a Seiko, whenever you're doing a screw down on these things, you always start out by going backwards. You push the thing in and turn backwards slowly until you feel the click. Then you turn it forwards. What you want to do is you want to make sure that those threads intermesh. That's what you have to do. If it feels like sand that is on in there, then something is wrong, and it's not the way that Seiko would have made them. Always do the backwards trick. When they're unscrewed, push them together, turn them backwards so you feel the click, and then you turn them forwards.
I wish I was listening to you so I would have learned that, but I was reading ahead.
Oh, I talk about it all the time.
I wish I listened to you.
Why? Well, because you've got screw down crowns too. It's important for you.
But I have it on my Rolex.
I know. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's the same process.
Okay, well, I know how it works. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
From Mihai Pascu. Hi, Spencer. Can you talk about Seiko's categories like DX, Lordmatic, Lord Marvel, Actis? Do you know how were they classified technically?
Seiko is all about running these like little sub-brands. They've always been about it. Like way back in the 60s, they had early 60s, they had like Alpinist and Laurel and all this stuff. And I don't know why they did it, but they seem to really like doing it. DX, I don't know, I always thought it stood for like deluxe or something. Most of the DXs were 6106s. There were a few later on that were 6309s, and I have a very, very, very late DX that is a really weird quartz. It's like this weird combination dive dress watch. But whenever I see DX, I'm like, oh, it's a 6106 or it's a 6309. It's just a dress watch. Lordmatic is typically those are LMs, and they're going to have 5600 movements in them, I believe, or they have the SUA version of that does, oh, my brain. In any case.
Tiny?
No, not Dynie. No, it's 5606 is the Dynie version, and then you have I'm just completely blanked out on what the SUA version is. They tended to be dress watches using a different kind of movement like that one, which was it was tighter. It had reverser wheel automatic winding. They're nice movements. The Lordmatics they're generally nice watches, and they have good movements. A lot of 5126s too, I think, in those. Actis is Japan only. That was a JDM thing. Again, dress watches, and they tended to be pretty wacky in terms of their styles. JDM stuff always was in those days. JDM would be, for the most part, would be pretty crazy looking. What was another one? Lord Marvel. Lord Marvel, I always think of as being like the high beat dress watches. But it's the same thing, LM. I honestly, I'm a little fuzzy on those two because I don't think about it too much because I mostly
it.
What?
That's it.
I don't know. Minor differences, just depending. I still don't know why Seiko was all about these sort of weird little sub brands, but it's their thing.
For Mr. Gino Hydra, great work on the Citizen. I've seen the video and it seemed like a very arduous job, but you did it for Sabrina. Yay! Sorry, I'm not wearing it. Sorry. I recently had a watch, a 1970 I got from Yahoo Japan lot. I purchased a few years ago, serviced. Checked a bit, and the dial is pristine. Movement was really good, original unpolished case, but the crystal was badly cracked. My watchmaker oiled up the movement but couldn't find a crystal, which I sourced myself via eBay. So the question is, how hard is it starting, or when has it started to get harder to order parts for older Seiko, 70s, 80s, etc., specifically, but in general as well, except for the new models?
Basically, it's always hard to get Seiko parts.
For as long as you've been doing it.
Oh yeah, Seiko makes it hard to get parts for brand new watches. But for something, so everything is going to be the secondhand market or the gray market. For 7019s, that's a 7000 series Dyne movement, and there are a billion parts of them. A 7019 is more or less a Seiko 7S26. It's basically the same thing, in that their jewelling is the same, and they're from the same lineage. You can find parts for those movements all day long, and I cannot imagine anytime soon it's going to be hard to find stuff for those things. There's just Seiko made so many of them, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The thing that Seiko always runs out of, and discontinues the most, that they need the most, are things like dials and hands and replacement bezels and things like that. Movement stuff is so generic. Like the 7019s, the balance that they use is the same all the way from the 7SA movements all the way back to the very beginning in the 60s. Exactly the same. Same escape wheel all the way up to basically the current day, I believe. It's the cosmetic stuff that's a problem.
I wish I brought my water. Oh well.
I've got my fresh water over there. Do you want me to get it?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I may have to kiss you, but I don't like sharing water.
All I can do is offer.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. From Philip Fitchu. So about the crystal on the bullhead, maybe it's something like the crystal on the Seiko Jumbo 3000. For others who may not know, I got a crystal for the 3002-35, cemented it onto the bezel and fit that entire unit to the case with a nylon gasket in between. According to Seiko service manuals, that's just how they drew it up. Maybe Citizen employed similar design.
It's something like that. I actually thought about that because those jumbo things, they have that big cleared nylon gasket and the whole thing is force fitted together. The issue with the crystal bezel I got from her watch, it was aftermarket, and as such, it had slightly too much clearance. It wasn't correct. When I actually, that replacement crystal that we got with the bezel and everything, it vanished. When we were driving down to Colorado Springs.
I went like this, and I was like, why do I feel the watch?
Yeah, we were driving down to Colorado Springs, and we got done with, like, I don't know, because Willow kept having to go to the bathroom every 10 minutes, and it just dropped out, even with, because I
didn't bonk it or anything.
I told her not to worry about it. It's not a big deal. But then what I did is I got the original bezel that had the damage, and I repainted it. I found a crystal that fit that, and I was looking at it, and unlike the reproduction one, it was a very, very, very tight fit, extremely tight. And I could see, looking around it, there was a very thin, almost like, when you have old celluloid tape, not like the Scotch tape, like the frosted kind, but the old, like,
the yellow one?
The whole stuff, yeah, the stuff that turns like yellow and brittle. That's what it looked like around there. And I was just like, you know what, screw it. And I used some GS crystal cement, and I just used a crystal press, and it just sunk in there, and it didn't move at all. And I was like, okay. And then I found a crystal of the right size, which is 30.5 millimeters, and I sunk that in, and it was fine.
So the crystal's not cemented.
Crystal is not. No. The crystal's cemented too.
Well, what happens in a situation when someone needs a new one?
That cement is not permanent. It's just to hold it for the time being until I come up with a better option. It's perfectly functional now. It's just sort of a stopgap. But I think Citizen went with a really tight fit. I don't think there is any extra gasket. The only thing I could see is I think they made those crystals with that celluloid material around it, but it's paper thin, even thinner than that, like onion skin thin almost.
Sorry, I'm sleepy.
I tried to get her to take a nap.
I couldn't fall asleep. Anyway, from Saul Brook.
Hi, Saul.
Hey. Spencer, I found it very entertaining and illustrative to follow up the Citizen 8110 with the Seiko 6138. It is fascinating to see how they took different approaches to solving the same problem. Given the complexity of the 8110, I am not surprised that it was more of a pain in the booty to restore. He didn't say that, I said that. To restore from the level of abuse it had suffered. There have been numerous threads over the years debating the issue of hand-winding autos. I think what you found on the 6138 gives pretty clear proof that they should not be treated like hand-winding movements. The feature is for the convenience of putting initial power into the system. If you have an auto-winding system that is no longer working, get it fixed. Do not just use your damaged watch as a hand winder. As to the finger cots, anyone who has had to work in a clean environment appreciates what a godsend they are over full gloves. Anyone making finger condom jokes is either just being silly or is uninformed.
You know, what can you do?
No, you know what? So we have a garbage can, obviously, and a dump truck comes and gets the garbage. And a few times they've fallen out on the street, and I wonder what people think when they see these little tiny...
Outside the front of my house, teeny tiny little condoms, itty bitty little ones. Like, neighbors must be looking at me like, the wife next door doesn't respect me at all anymore. Or she thinks that I must have a lot of money.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, about the hand winder. It was actually, I have to say, for as much work as I've done on 6138s, there's certain things I just don't have to think about. I mean, it's very, very rare for me to... I can't think of another watch model example where it had that kind of wear on the crown wheel. I've never seen it before in a 6138 because they're primarily automatic. But I always, in the back of my head, I said, oh, well, they're automatic and hand winding. You can hand wind it until the cows come home. But you can't, clearly. As opposed to... Are you still thinking about my tiny condoms?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep it together.
Why does this stuff amuse women? Why do they think it's so funny? I don't know why. Anyway, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So, but like this watch here, this is a Swiss watch, and this is automatic and a hand winder. But this one started life. This movement started. This movement design started life basically as a pocket watch. It's really old school tech. So the hand winding on this is really burly, super burly. And then they went in and. They went in after here. Give me the list of questions. They went in after the fact and they added on an automatic winding. So primarily it was a hand winder with added automatic winding. Whereas Seiko's thing is always that they are all about automatic winding. They're all about it. And in the case of the 6138, they added hand winding, as you said, basically as an afterthought. I don't know, but I'm still kind of amazed at that level of wear on that stuff.
I'm back. I can do it. I can manage.
Can you?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Okay. Wait, hang on, let me just... Okay. From Lester Loves Watches. At the beginning of my collecting days, I bought my first two Seikos from that seller in Bath, a UFO and a brown bullhead. I paid way over the odds, and both watches were full of issues. Avoid.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. God, what was his name? He's changed his seller name a few times too. Time Collections, I think, was him for a long time. But there was another guy in London who was doing a lot of the same stuff. Really dodgy watches, badly done, horribly restored, taken with really moody photographs, like magazine advertisement grade photographs that made it feel like it was a good illustrative look at the watch, but in fact was hiding flaws and made it look better than it was.
Well, I would think, unless you know the person, if they're fancy, pretty pictures, probably is hiding something.
Yeah, there's... oh, no, I think the guy's name was Time Essence.
Why would I know?
I don't know, because everybody knows that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but his stuff was really dodgy, and like I had to just basically stop thinking about him, because I would look at his listings, and I would look at the descriptions, and I would be like, wrong, lie, that's a lie, that can't be the case, that isn't the case. And it's just, it's a waste of my energy. Doesn't help anybody, and I just feel bad for people to get suckered in. Sorry. Yeah, but don't buy a watch from anyone in Bath.
I feel sorry for the normal people that sell there.
Yeah, anybody who lives in Bath who sells watches, if you aren't this guy, you're fine. Don't worry about it. There's got to be somebody in Bath who sells watches who isn't that guy.
Sure. Okay, from Walter Alvarado. This Spencer Klein mail call is brought to you by Klein Vintage Watch. Thanks for raising the price of my Royal Oak. Cheers.
I had no idea they were so hot. I sold 2 of them back to back. Boop, boop, they were gone. I had no idea they were so hot. I think they're hot in Europe. I put one up on my Instagram, and I've never before had 17 message requests. Like, boom. And the majority of them were from Italy. I don't know. Guys are really down for them, but I had 2. They've both been sold. I don't have one anymore. But I had no idea that they were so hot.
3.
No, one belonged to a customer as a restoration, and then we had 2 others.
Okay, I understand. From King Trailblazer, Omega have just bought out their new Bullhead Racing chronometer, and I have to say it's a great watch, and the strap is just right. Also, check that Omega one out. You will love this Citizen watch for its nostalgic value and looks.
I'll look up about this new Citizen Bullhead. The new Omega Bullhead. I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see.
Am I supposed to look it up?
I don't.
Okay, I didn't have to look it up.
We didn't have to look it up. I looked it up for you.
Thank you. From Eric Shearer, I have just found your channel. As a 35-plus year automotive technician, I really appreciate the depth of your knowledge, talent, and ability to demonstrate it in your videos.
Yeah, the reason I had this comment on there is that people ask me what I do, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. It's so small." But you add magnification into the thing, and the thing gets big. And once you're looking at a watch movement and it is apparently this large in front of you, and you get used to the idea of using tweezers for your fingers, it's just a machine. It's literally just a machine. You add in enough magnification and you can see the problems. It's one of the craziest things, because people, like, when I first took apart watches and I was dealing with the screws, they were so tiny, but I wasn't using any magnification at that time because I was just fiddling around with the work.
How weren't you blind?
I was a long time ago. I was much younger then. But then you put enough magnification on it, boy, you can get lots of things done. It's just a matter of getting that fine control and having the right tools and the right basic knowledge base.
Mr. X, I'm looking for an NOS or mint original gold colored dial. Hit me up if you have one. This
was a question, again, talking about the Brad Pitt watch. New old stock or mint dials, new old stock dials, like unused, they don't exist. Well, they do exist, but not for any model that pretty much anybody collects. Those parts were exhausted decades ago. Near mint or excellent condition dial is going to be inside a watch. It's going to be inside its original watch. It's very rare to find loose dials and loose things like that, especially for watches from this long ago. All that stuff has been either found or it was in watchmakers' estates and people didn't bother to sell it and ended up in a landfill. The thing that you need to do is exactly what I did not do with the MGB, which is that you need to spend a little bit more and get a better example to start with. If I'd been the smarter monkey, I would have spent a little bit more money, because I didn't spend a lot of money on this thing, and bought a nicer condition car. But this one isn't bad, but I'm gonna have to put a lot of sweat equity into it, and certain things are just never gonna be right again. And that's certainly true for vintage watches.
Sorry, I'm listening to see if Sebastian's... Oh, sorry, he's always in the back of my head.
Why? What's he doing?
I don't know. Oh, wait, I hear him. Never mind. Okay, from Cowmahan84.
Okay.
I don't know, it's just a screen name.
Oh.
I have an 063 and I love it. But the most shocking thing in this video, seeing this next to a Marine Master, I have a very small wrist and I can wear an 063 just fine, but next to a Marine Master it looks very similar. So does it mean I can wear a Marine Master too? I always assumed they played large.
Marine Masters are pretty chunky, but the biggest thing is that Seiko has this crazy manic addiction to making watches taller, and so
Yeah,
like
I can wear it, and I have super tiny wrists.
oh yeah, and the it's but the Marine Master, the SBD X01, they added on like an additional like the rotating ring is too tall. It should be flush with the crystal, but it's not. It's like 1.5 millimeters above the top of the crystal for some reason, and it adds a lot of bulk to the watch. The 063, which is the baby Marine Master, is lower, tighter, cleaner design, and it slips under a cuff. The Marine Master is not that. So yes, in some ways, but really no.
This is a name. Aristides.
Oh, he's Greek.
Yeah, I can see that. I just can't pronounce it. Lychonas. I can't pronounce anything. I tried my best. It's down here.
Aristides I can't. Lycaunus. I'm sorry about the last name.
Sorry. Okay. Hello, Spencer and Sabrina. Thank you very much for the great informative videos. I would like you to tell me why Seiko's straight vent strap, the GL831, and its modern equivalent DAL1BP have 2 vents on the long half, 6 o'clock side, and 3 vents on the buckle half, 12 o'clock side. The same is true for Citizen's OEM strap that came with my NY0040. On the other hand, Seiko's more modern straps like the Z22 or the straight vent Recreation that come with the new Arnie have 3 vents on both halves. Also, the long half of the DAL1BP is thicker than the short half. The only reason I can come up with after wearing a DAL1BP for a long time is that it prevents the watch from rotating towards the 12 o'clock side, but I'm not 100% convinced this is the reason. Thank you very much.
I don't know of any functional reason why they would have made those changes. The vents are to give some stretch to the strap, so you could really put it over like something larger and it would have some grip. A lot of what Seiko does is they do for aesthetic reasons. I don't know the answer, and in fact, I haven't really thought about it to the point that until I read your comment, I had no idea that they had different. Somebody else had mentioned that the new strap that Arnie strap had 3 vents per side, which made it 6, and so it's more symmetry. But honestly, I didn't even really think about it. I'd be shocked if there was any real function behind it. I think it's aesthetics, if you ask me. But I could be wrong. If somebody has a better idea, please tell me. What?
Just listening to the stomping. From James Duffy, nice overview. It has been an active year for my collection too, with an ongoing pure and slow move upmarket from the affordable Seiko divers and vintage dress watches to fewer high-end pieces. Also running at Sandwich Time channel on Instagram might have changed my wrist size.
Do you literally eat? This is Sandwich Time channel. They're on Instagram every day. He posts pictures of sandwiches. Do you eat sandwiches every day?
Sandwiches are good.
I know sandwiches are good. Believe me, I'm envious. Man, I love sandwiches. I live sandwiches every day. Though, of course, you remember the old piece of wisdom. There's a fine line between not enough sandwich and too much.
Okay.
But yeah, moving up market is not a bad thing. Man, I wish I owned. I'm waiting for the day when when lightning strikes and I find the one watch I can wear for the rest of my life, and I never have to think about it ever again.
I thought it was going to be that watch.
I do love this watch.
We didn't do a wrist check. I'm wearing my sub. Can you hold it for me? I'm shaky. For people that haven't seen it. There it is.
Wearing her sub, doing her sub thing.
Yep.
And I am also. I've been wearing the Arnie a whole lot, the new Arnie, but I had to. I don't know. I keep coming back to this one because it's so comfortable. It's 5513. It's so comfortable and easy to wear. I wish it had a date, but it's just, it's a good size. The nice thing is that I don't have to worry about this watch. I mean, I have a lot of Seikos and I tend to wear a number of my Seikos. There are a few Seikos that I wear repeatedly, but like this watch, I just don't have to think about it. And, because I built this thing from parts basically, and so it's not like some crazy amazing, museum piece. It's not without value, but it's just a nice daily wear, and it's really, really comfortable. And I don't know, it's just nice. When I wear a Seiko, it's kind of like work. Like I have work on my wrist. This doesn't feel like work to me.
It's from Spidic8. That bullhead is a lovely watch. Good to see you got it running and sorted, given all the missing parts and unsecure plates. I'm amazed you did.
Hey, I am too, but the problem is I got into it. And so it was like, it was a part. What am I going to do? I'm going to just keep pushing forward until, I don't think about the totality of it. You push forward and you deal with the problem and you fix the problem. And then you go forward until you hit the next thing and you fix that. And you just keep going, and eventually, hopefully, you run out of problems to fix. I don't know how the MGB is going to do.
Well, I have to be able to drive it to Target, so...
I have to teach you to drive a stick. I know I keep saying...
You keep saying that!
I know, but that's going to be the first
You're
thing.
making me feel dumb.
No, you're not dumb. I mean, people don't really drive sticks anymore.
Not in America.
Mm-mm.
From Rick Riviera. Sometimes when I shake my SKX while it's already running, I notice the second hand skips ahead. It's consistent enough that I've done it to correct slow running. Am I shaking it too hard?
I would say so, yes. What's happening there is that you're shaking it hard enough that the pallet fork can basically kind of skip, and you're getting, hey, more money.
Yeah, I love money.
And then you're basically getting the escape wheel is getting a couple clicks in through the pallet fork, and you don't want to do that. I mean, a little bit of gentleness is fine. You don't want to be like...
Gotta reference that video.
The one that everybody watches, I still don't understand it.
And people hate it. But
People
also...
hate it. They hate me. They hate everything. They hate squirrels. They hate ice cream, and they hate that video. I don't know why. I made a video forever ago. I was...
Like his first video.
And it was just a video I made for somebody. I don't even remember why I made it. It was long. It was so old.
Like, we still had the white fridge.
Yeah, I'm sitting there at my seat at the kitchen table, and I'm just doing this, and I filmed it for somebody. I don't know who. I was just some guy. Yeah, I still am, but people find that video all the time, and they refer to it all the time. And the vast majority of negative comments I get are on that stupid video. I don't really care, but...
All it is you going like this.
I simply don't understand where people are finding that video. I even made a new video about doing the Seiko shuffle to supplant that old one, and... Nobody says anything on the newer video.
But what did they say about the old one?
I get criticized. You should never do this to the watch, or watch abuse, or that's not how you do it, or you're moving too fast, or you're not supposed to do this, and it's just like it's in the Seiko manual. It shows you, even in like the little booklet you get with the watches. Even today, it still shows you to do that. I don't know. It really riles people up. It's wild. That and watch winders.
I don't want to get into that. That's annoying. Okay. Am I on that one now?
Yeah.
Just a gearhead. Hey, Spencer, does the 4R36 have arbor jewels?
No.
Okay.
It'd be nice if they did. That would be great, but no.
From Ross Duggan. Enjoyed this one. Really love seeing the micro machines. I'm a repairman on heavy mining equipment.
Ooh, Sebastian would love to come and spend some time with you.
We have almost the same job, both work on machines. Just some size difference. Thanks for sharing. The slop in the center pivot, did you stake that to tighten up or install a new bushing?
I actually, what I did is I machined that out to take out the slop because it was more near an oval, and then I installed basically a bearing, but one made of synthetic ruby. Very, very hard material that's used in watchmaking, and it's a ring jewel that we have. Actually, that one is genuine Seiko, and you just machine it out with a Zeitz tool that's specific for friction fitting this kind of stuff, and drop it in, make sure the clearances, the end shake is right, and away you go.
Oh, Sebastian's looking for me. From Peter Piccolo. Spencer, 76, your year of birth, by the way, cool video once again.
He's asking about my 76 t-shirt.
I know.
There was a gas station chain called 76, and for some reason it was just one of those 70s brands, and I don't know, I was looking for t-shirts, so I bought that one and I wear it.
Wow.
There you go.
Uh,
I wish I was born in 76.
Then you'd be closer to my age.
I guess I would be.
Oh, wow. From humans are ants.
Humans are ants.
What's quality control on this one like?
Talking about the Arnie. There's a little misalignment on the chapter ring, but the rest of it is fine. The quality looks great. The second hand hits the markers as it should. The production quality is great. Metal finishing is awesome as always, and actually I'm pretty happy with the black composite shroud, whatever it is made of. I like it. I'm real happy with it. It's a great watch, and I love the pierced lugs. I think that's a great call.
From Kaomahan 84, I want one. I've wanted one for years, but 15 millimeters is just too darn thick. A shame.
Talking about the Marine Master, yeah, they're thick. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish there was some sub for the rotating ring that would drop the height, because that would really make the watch a lot more general purpose and less bulky. They're cool. I haven't worn mine in a while. I wore it a lot right after I serviced it, but I was looking at it the other day thinking I just don't wear it very often.
From Smucker's T, was the SKX the only diver to be released with a brand new movement inside?
Well, the SKX was not released with a brand new movement inside. It was released with a modified movement, just like the 4R36 and 6R15s are just modifications of the 7Ss. The 7S movements are just modifications of the 7000 movements. I mean, they tweaked a few things, but it's the same basic movement. I can't... The last time I'm aware... I mean, Seiko has put brand new movements into watches many, many times, because they change stuff all the time. But those automatics, no, they're all the same. Danny's been making the same basic movement for 50 years now.
Raw irony. Is the 7002 able to take a metal bracelet designed to fit other models such as a 6309?
Well, no. The 7002 is the same slim case design as the 6309 slim cases, and the same as the 7S's and all those. Yes. If you're asking about a cushion case 6309, no, they won't. Oh, that's it. That's it for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Not much else going on.
Nope. Now you can go look at the car.
There's a mouse. I found a mouse house inside under the hood.
Well,
under the bonnet.
We have 3 cats, so someone will.
I don't think there's a mouse in there.
I hope not.
I think
otherwise you're going to shop vac it.
I think everybody moved out a long. I mean, there's spider webs in there. I didn't find any spiders. There's no opportunity inside a car that's sitting in the woods for 30 years. There's just nothing going on
I
there.
remember my grandma's car didn't move forever, and it got mouse house in it, and then she went and turned it on, even though she shouldn't have, and it set on fire.
Oh, I remember my granddad's car. He had I don't know, some Econo box from the 80s, I remember, and he almost never drove it. And I remember at a certain point, it had like 8,000 miles on it, and he'd owned it for 15 or 20 years, and we were going to start it up again, and I pulled the top of the air cleaner, and it was literally full of some mouse house. Like literally, like the throat of the carburetor was stuffed. But I got most of the stuff out, and we started it up, and it ran. The only problem was that it had been sitting on gravel in New England for so long that everything underneath was completely rusted. The brake system failed completely. Brakes worked for a few pumps, and then thing went right to the floor. Very exciting stuff.
Very exciting.
Anyway, so that's about it. Somebody made a comment on Instagram, 4:44 p.m., that my turnarounds are going to get even longer because I have this stupid MGB. Not so. I guarantee you that I will be working on that car. I will master myself, and I will only be working on the car when I have free time to do so, not during business hours, as much as I would like to.
Well, you can't do that.
Nope, absolutely not. That's it. All right, well, thank you so much. You folks have a good... John Boyarsky, you said you're a Browns fan? You live in Alaska and you're a Browns fan. You don't even have to...
John Boyarsky is John Boy of Alaska.
Yes, I know.
You said John Boyarsky.
His name is John Boyarsky.
Oh, okay, I was confused.
And he's a Browns fan.
Well...
Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
He's got OBJ.
Okay.
Browns fan. Wow.
Nobody cares about football.
What?
Well, no.
John Boyarski does.
I know, but one time you were talking about the Broncos, and
what are you
people
gonna
were
do?
like,
It was some guy from England bitching about us talking about American football. It's my channel, dude. If I want to talk about football, I'm going to.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Go Philip Lindsay, who tells us that even though they're 0-3, if we don't support the team, we suck. So we're going to watch the Broncos on Sunday.
Yep.
Why not?
Because you're going to want to work on your car.
Yeah, I am. Sebastian loves the thing. God, he loves it. It's nuts.
It's so cute this morning.
It is so cute. What, we were working together on the handle and pumping. He insisted all four wheels. Huh? He really wanted to do it, man. I tell you, I didn't buy the car for me. I bought it for him.
Oh, okay. Not for me.
And for you.
Oh.
I swear you're going to love it once I get it running.
Okay.
Wait until you sit in it. I'm amazed how roomy they are.
I'm not sitting in it until it's cleaner.
You wouldn't think this tiny British car would have so much room inside, but I mean, I'm a tall guy, relatively speaking, and it was no problem.
Well, why don't you shop vac it? And
I will shop vac and we'll figure it out. I've got to move it and pump up the dead tires and figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. Great weekend.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Why do you have to take off your rainbow shoes?
Because they're in my rainbow.
Oh, that's okay. Sebastian, do you like the orange car?
Yeah.
Oh, you really like the black car.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go inside, Daddy.
Oh no, we're gonna go inside the truck here in just a second so we can get going. One thing.
Oh no. Looking at the waste one. I'm looking at white spots, Daddy.
A little mouse house action. Guy moved the battery to the front. I'm not sure why. More mouse house action. I think, maybe. You can see that mouse house in there. There's still oil in the carb. Interesting.
Oh, Daddy, what are you doing?
I don't know. Block that off. Radiator is filthy. It looks like cap was leaking for a long time. All the rust coming down there. I don't know what that's going to tell me, but I'll deal with this later, I guess. Oh, good. Well, gotta start somewhere. That doesn't help us. Neither does that. Looks like he was trying to do something with it. He never finished. Wacky.
You reached them.
No, not yet. Maybe when you're older.
Because look at those buttons, Daddy.
I know.
That's the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And which one you like? You like the color blue button?
Pancake?
Yeah. And now going this side, Daddy?
Uh-oh, no, not yet. Okay, let's let it sleep. It hasn't been inside a garage for 36 years. Can you close the door?
This one.
Oh, all right.
I want to wash the lights. I want to get a nice and shiny car.
It wants to sleep. Come on, Willow.
Does it look a little bit more cleaner now?
It does. Come on, can you close the door for me?